Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is pretty laser focused. We're taking a big stack of raw YouTube analytics and turning it into a real actionable growth plan, specifically for the Five Branches University channel.
Yeah, we're drilling right down into what works and maybe what doesn't in that traditional Chinese medicine or TCM educational space on YouTube.
Exactly. You've given us some incredibly detailed stuff, metrics on shorts, long form, click-through rates, audience retention, you name it.
All the good stuff.
Right. And we're here to basically give you the shortcut, the fastest way to get really well informed on what's driving engagement, what's building authority for FBU.
And that's the key word, isn't it? Authority. We're moving past just looking at numbers. We want an evidence-based content strategy.
Okay.
And, looking at the initial snapshot, the channel isn't exactly starting from scratch. There's already massive potential there, proven visibility.
Huge potential. What are we talking in terms of numbers?
Well, look at the impressions for long-form videos alone. Over 1.3 million total. And then the shorts are getting close to 1 million impressions, too. That's an enormous base of organic reach to start with.
And impressions, well, they're great, but they're kind of like the invitation, right? What really tells this story, especially for an educational institution, is the commitment level. What happens after they click?
Precisely. And the commitment we're seeing, it's actually phenomenal. The total watch time accumulated is, get this, over 15,226 hours. Just for the long-form content.
15,000 hours.
15,000 hours. Think about that for a second.
Right.
That's years of human attention focused purely on learning about TCM from this one channel.
That's incredible. It proves the audience isn't just, window shopping. They're dedicated learners.
Exactly. They are students, essentially. And this accumulative attention, it really establishes FBU as a serious, trusted source, a real educational resource.
Okay, so if that commitment is proven, if we know people are willing to spend that much time, the big strategic question becomes, how do we take that massive pool of interest at 15,000 hours and amplify it systematically?
Yeah. Right. How do we leverage the videos that are already working to scale up that educational reach, maybe globally, and do it reliably?
Which leads us right into what we're calling the content catalysts. We need to figure out what exactly is hitting the mark with this audience, and maybe more importantly, why it's resonating so strongly.
Okay, let's unpack that, because the data, honestly, it gives us a pretty overwhelming, pretty unambiguous answer here.
Yeah.
The audience prioritizes practicality, with a capital P practicality over abstraction.
Okay, explain that.
High-performing content doesn't matter if it's a quick, short, or a long, detailed video. It's consistently the stuff that gives viewers tangible, immediate knowledge or visual proof that a treatment actually works.
So they're not looking for, say, deep philosophical dives into five elements theory as much.
Not on average, no. The data suggests they're searching for specific solutions, things they can understand or even implement, today. Right now.
We see that playing out perfectly in the shorts data, right? The hands-down winner there, both for views and engagement. Is that one titled Learn Twina, Haegu Point, Naguan Point?
That's the one. Over 26,000 views, which is great for a short, but the killer number.
The CTR.
The click-through rate, a staggering 5.86%. Wow.
For a YouTube short, that kind of CTR is, it's fantastic.
It is genuinely exceptional. I mean, average platform CTRs often hover somewhere between maybe 2 to 4%. So 5.86 really signals that the thumbnail and title have immense drawing power.
And what's interesting is the specificity of that title, isn't it?
Exactly. It doesn't just say learn TCM massage. Oh. It names the points. Haegu, Naguan. For someone learning, even just a curious layperson, that signals immediate actionable value.
Let's just quickly contextualize that. For listeners maybe not super familiar with TCM, Twina is essentially therapeutic Chinese massage. Very hands-on, very approachable.
Right.
And Haegu, that's large intestine 4, and Naguan pericardium 6. These are two of the most famous, most widely used acupressure points in the world. Haegu for headaches, general pain.
Very common. And
Naguan is the go-to for nausea, motion sickness, things like that.
Exactly right. So the success is clearly rooted in teaching techniques that the viewer, regardless of their medical background, can try immediately to treat a common problem. A headache, maybe car sickness on a trip.
It's the perfect learn it and use it right now content.
Absolutely. It completely bypasses the need for any complex philosophical understanding to get immediate value.
And that focus, that practical, immediate application focus, it's not just in the shorts, is it? It carries right over into the long form stuff.
Straight through. We see that videos targeting common often acute pain points attract the target audience much more effectively. Why? Because the title basically makes a promise. It clearly states the problem that the video is going to solve.
Turning the video into a kind of guaranteed value transaction for the viewer's time.
Precisely. And the numbers back this up. We see really strong, sustained performance for long-form videos addressing those ubiquitous issues like persistent shoulder pain or chronic hip and leg pain, even recovery protocols after a stroke.
That video, Relieving Persistent Shoulder Pain, TCM Diagnosis and Acupuncture Treatment Demo, that title itself is like a contract, isn't it?
It is. It says, you watch this, and you are going to see how we approach shoulder pain. Simple, direct, value-driven.
Which brings us nicely to the next point. Treatment demonstrations. This idea of visually building trust.
Yes.
Because let's face it, a lot of TCM can seem, well, mysterious or abstract to newcomers.
Yeah.
Reading about needling or cupping or tweener is one thing.
But seeing it done by a professional, safely, effectively, that's completely different.
This is where that mantra comes in. Show, don't just tell.
Absolutely critical. Demonstrations perform exceptionally well. That shoulder pain demo video we just mentioned, over 5,100 views. That's significant engagement for a niche topic demo.
And what's the impact of that showing?
It shatters the mystique. It makes the abstract tangible. It satisfies curiosity, sure. But much more importantly, it builds profound trust. Trust in TCM as a legitimate, reproducible therapeutic method.
So for FBU, these demos are actually a powerful tool for credibility.
They are arguably the single greatest tool for establishing authority and professional credibility, especially with a potentially skeptical or simply curious global audience.
Okay, let's talk about a specific video that seems to be like a real anchor for the channel's authority. One that shows massive, enduring power and that global appeal you mentioned. We're talking about that long-form webinar from way back in 2016, Traditional Chinese Medicine Webinar, Tongue Diagnosis.
Ah, yes. This one is a truly remarkable data point, published, 8 years ago now?
8 years.
And it has racked up almost 170,000 views. And get this watch time, nearly 2,500 hours. 2,479 to be precise.
That's not just a viral blip then. That's sustained evergreen performance year after year. It's like a global authority piece.
That persistence is the absolute key insight here. Specific diagnostic methods, especially ones that are highly visual and, frankly, universally applicable like tongue diagnosis, they have this enduring appeal. It cuts across language, across cultural barriers.
Why tongue diagnosis specifically, do you think?
Well, it performs because it's personalized and immediate, isn't it? A viewer anywhere in the world can literally pause a video, go look in a mirror, and compare what they see to what the professor is demonstrating on screen.
That makes sense. Instant engagement.
Totally. And this strongly suggests that prioritizing bilingual content and really focusing on these universally applicable diagnostic topics is a super high-value, long-term growth strategy. It acts as this consistent, low-barrier entry point into the real depth of TCM knowledge.
Okay, before we shift gears to talk about how viewers engage with different lengths of video, we do need to address a bit of an anomaly. Something specific in the data around recruitment and event content.
Right, the campus stuff.
Yeah, generally we see pretty low organic viewership for things like campus tours, which kind of makes sense, right? It's a niche audience within an already niche field.
Expected behavior.
But we found these wildly high watch times, like over 700 hours each, for videos about a specific event.
Yep.
The June 25th on-campus immersive TCM learning event. That seems off.
It does seem off. And that data point is what we'd call a strategic outlier. It needs very careful interpretation. Those huge watch times, they are almost certainly not from organic appeal.
So what's likely happening there?
It's likely an artifact of something else, maybe very targeted, long-running ad campaigns, or embedded videos somewhere specific. Content possibly fed repeatedly to a small, pre-qualified, high-intent audience, maybe applicants in a recruitment funnel who are asked to watch it.
So the takeaway isn't make more videos about on-campus events.
Definitely not for general audience growth, no. The data clearly confirms that the organic viewer interest lies overwhelmingly with practical, evergreen TCM education. Our recommendation would be use paid advertising specifically for recruitment goals, sure, but rely entirely on the educational content to build that broader brand authority and trust organically.
Got it. Two different goals, needing two separate content strategies.
Precisely.
Okay, that insight into organic versus maybe paid or targeted engagement leads us really nicely into the next big section. Decoding viewer intent based on video length.
Yeah.
Let's contrast the role of shorts, that broad reach, versus long-form content for that deep, sustained engagement.
Yeah, this is where the two formats really show their different jobs within the whole content ecosystem. Shorts are, they're undeniable engines for broad reach. The data shows total shorts views getting close to 280,000.
Wow.
They're just incredibly efficient at attracting high view counts quickly, getting the brand name out there, building awareness across a really wide audience.
They hook you fast. But the retention data tells a very different story about viewer commitment.
Completely different story. The average view duration for even the high-performing shorts typically hangs around that 30 to 60-second mark.
Yeah.
Even our top performer, that Learn to Win Us short, only managed an average duration of 1 minute and 6 seconds. It's a quick hit, a burst of instruction.
It serves its purpose, though.
Yeah.
A brief intro, something memorable.
Absolutely. But if the goal is cultivating that core, loyal, educated audience, the kind of people who might eventually enroll or become professional advocates for TCM or refer patients,
Then you need the depth.
then you absolutely must rely on the long-form content. And we see this dominance clearly reflected in the average view duration metrics. When a viewer is genuinely interested in a specific, detailed TCM topic, they commit significant time.
Okay, give us the hard numbers on that, the proof of that deep commitment, because this is where FBU's authority really seems to shine.
Okay, consider the webinar on TCM treatments for insomnia. That one manages to keep viewers watching, on average, for 10 minutes and 6 seconds.
10 minutes, that's huge online.
It is. Or compare that to the intro of TCM tongue diagnosis. That holds viewers for nearly 9 minutes. 8 minutes and 56 seconds average view duration.
And these are probably much longer videos originally, right? 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes?
Often, yes. But retaining someone for 9 or 10 minutes on average in today's digital landscape, that's exceptional.
I have to jump in here. That kind of average retention, it blows past industry standards for educational videos of that length.
Yeah.
That's not typical internet behavior at all.
No, it's not.
It really confirms that the audience is willing to invest serious time in detailed, complex educational stuff, but only when they perceive the authority of the source.
It proves that high-quality educational content can overcome the typical short attention span problem online. When the topic matters to the viewer and the presenter is clearly seen as a professional authority, like a professor from an accredited university,
They commit.
they commit. Viewers essentially disregard the usual short-form trend. So long-form is absolutely essential, not just for view counts, but for cultivating that high engagement and really cementing FBU's authority in the space.
Okay, now let's flip back to the start of the journey getting that click in the first place. Let's look at the videos that really grab attention from the thumbnail and title. The high click-through rate, or CTR, videos. We know the overall average CTR for long form is around 4%, which is healthy. But quite a few are performing well above 5%. We need to understand the psychology behind those clicks. What makes people click that video?
Yeah, the high CTR videos seem to share a powerful combination. It's usually a very clear value proposition mixed with compelling curiosity. They promise something specific and valuable enough to make someone stop scrolling and click.
We already mentioned the Learn Tweener, short at nearly 6%. What else stands out?
Well, look at the recruitment content again, but framed as a life-changing opportunity. That title, Do You Want to Become an Acupuncturist? That hit a massive 10.78% CTR.
Whoa, okay, that's huge.
It tells us that when the audience sees a really clear path or maybe a high-stakes opportunity presented directly to them, they're in a high-intent mode. They click. No hesitation.
So how can we try and replicate some of that urgency or promise in the purely educational content? We can't always offer a new career path.
No, but we can focus on specialization and professional authority. That's the other big factor driving high CTRs. The promise of getting specialized expert knowledge.
Okay.
Consider that webinar series, specifically Auricular Medicine Introduction, Section 1, by Professor Li-Chun Huang, bilingual. That one hit a 7.27% CTR.
Okay, just quickly for the listener, auricular medicine is basically diagnosis and treatment using points on the ear, right? Sometimes called ear acupuncture or ear seeds.
That's it.
So why does including the specialist's name, like Professor Li-Chun Huang, drive such high engagement?
It signals immediate trust and expertise. The audience instantly knows they aren't getting generic info. They're getting instruction from a recognized authority, likely a leader, in a very specific, maybe even niche field within TCM.
So the high CTR confirms that sophisticated viewers are actively seeking out that deep, specialized content.
Yes, especially when it's clearly endorsed by a credible professional source, like a named professor from the university.
Okay, so the synthesis of the format seems pretty clear then. Shorts are great for attracting broad, maybe more passive interest, bringing awareness,
Getting eyeballs, yeah.
while the long-form stuff builds the real loyalty and trust through that deep, sustained engagement.
They're two complementary parts of the same engine. You need both working together efficiently. Shorts attract, long-form converts and retains.
Okay, great. That makes perfect sense. So now let's pivot to the really actionable stuff, the strategic roadmap for the future. How do we actually systematize these winners?
Right. This is crucial. Let's dive into the recommendations.
Okay, strategy recommendation number 1, strategic video length deployment. We know shorts need to be quick, long form needs depth. How do we execute that effectively, maybe without having the content cannibalize itself?
Okay, for shorts, we really need to stick rigidly to that principle. One video, one concept. Keep them tight. Ideally, you're looking at that 45 to 60-second window max.
And the structure, purely instructional.
Purely instructional. Think. Rapid visual demonstration, super clear explanation of the point or the concept, and then an immediate statement of its application or benefit. Fast, punchy, valuable.
Like micro tutorials, designed for that quick consumption on the short shelf, aiming for high impressions. Give us a couple of concrete examples.
Okay, say you want to define a core TCM term like key. Don't give a 5-minute history lesson in a short. Instead, 50 seconds. Show the Chinese character maybe, give a super rapid definition, vital life force or flowing energy, and then immediately connect it to something relatable, physical, like demonstrating deep abdominal breathing. Show the practical effect.
Got it. Quick, visual applied. Another one.
How about an acupoint locator short? 45 seconds. Just crystal clear, steady, high-def camera work locating one specific point, maybe spleen 6, for example. State its primary function, say, for hormonal balance. Done. Single point, single function, visually clear.
Okay. Sharp, focused shorts. Then the long-form videos targeting that 8 to 15-minute sweet spot you identify these become the deep wells of knowledge.
Exactly. And the smartest strategy here, the way to connect the two, is to use your popular short topics as springboards for the comprehensive, deep dive, long-form content.
So you're not guessing what people want deeper dives on?
No. You're using the shorts data as proof of demand. This ensures the content is complementary, not redundant. You take the successful short, the one that already proved audience interest, and you expand on it massively.
Okay, let's use that shoulder pain short as our concrete example for this expansion model. Walk us through it.
Right. So if a short on quick tweener for shoulder pain got, say, 5,000 views or had great engagement, that tells you thousands of people are actively looking for this solution. That's your green light.
So the next step is?
The next step is to deliver the full curriculum on that topic. That successful short becomes the inspiration, the seed for a 10-minute long-form video, maybe titled something like a holistic TCM approach to chronic neck and shoulder pain, integrating acupressure, qigong, and dietary therapy.
Okay, much more comprehensive.
Totally. This video doesn't just show one acupressure point, it presents a multimodal approach. You could include specific qigong exercises shown to improve neck and shoulder mobility. You could discuss the underlying TCM pattern diagnosis that might be causing the pain, like blood stasis, for example.
And even diet.
Yeah, maybe add specific dietary recommendations based on TCM principles to help mitigate dampness or inflammation contributing to the pain. This move takes the content from just a quick tip to a really comprehensive, authoritative educational module.
And it directly meets that proven demand for deeper engagement on a topic you already know resonates.
Exactly. You're not guessing anymore. You're giving the audience the advanced course on something they already raised their hand for.
That's really smart. Okay, recommendation number 2. Systematizing these content winners, turning them into predictable, series-based viewing.
Yes, we absolutely have to double down on the proven stuff, the practical tutorials, the treatment demos by making them regular expected features. Predictability builds audience loyalty and viewing habits.
Okay, what might that look like structurally? Give us some series ideas.
Well, you could launch something like the AcuPoint of the Week, a regular 5-minute deep dive into the clinical uses, the traditional significance, maybe even some research snippets on one single powerful point each week.
I like that. Consistent, bite-sized depth. What else?
Or maybe even more relevant to a modern audience, a series like TCM Solutions for Modern Ailments. We know insomnia works well. Let's expand that. Think about high search volume issues people face today. Digital eye strain from screens, chronic stress headaches, functional gut issues like reflux or indigestion.
All very common problems people seek solutions for.
Exactly. And the format should be structured. Introduce the modern ailment, briefly describe the likely corresponding TCM pattern diagnosis, then offer 2 or 3 practical, non-drug solutions, maybe an herbal suggestion, an acupressure routine, or a key dietary shift.
Practical, structured, solution-oriented. Love it. And you mentioned earlier we absolutely must build a dedicated series around tongue diagnosis.
Oh, absolutely. That's the power play. The data screams that this topic is a top performer across the board: views, watch time, engagement. It has sustained high value appeal. We need to own that topic.
And why is it so sticky again?
It's that high interactive and self-assessment potential. The minute you show a tongue picture, the viewer instinctively wants to know, wait, what does my tongue look like? We have to lean into that inherent engagement factor.
So a dedicated series, what would that entail?
Definitely develop a comprehensive series. Maybe title it something catchy but informative, like What Your Tongue Says About Your Health. You could have segments dedicated to specific patterns or pathologies visible on the tongue. Is your tongue telling you you have dampness, or identifying blood stasis signs on the tongue?
You could even make it interactive within the video, right? Like encourage people to pause, look in the mirror.
Yes. Compare their tongue to the sample images the professor is showing. It turns passive viewing into an active physical learning moment. It makes the information stick so much better.
Brilliant. Turns the viewing into a mini self-consultation.
Exactly. Drastically enhances memory and engagement. And while we're focusing on the practical instruction, we shouldn't ignore that other thread we saw in the data, the interest in the bigger picture, the philosophy, how TCM fits in.
Right. You mentioned the video how Western medicine and Chinese medicine can work together, performed well. That signals real audience interest in integrative approaches.
It does. And this is a hugely relevant, rapidly evolving area in global healthcare. FBU has a real opportunity to establish thought leadership here.
So how can the channel capitalize on that?
By actively inviting experts who are maybe dual certified, acupuncturists, or those working in integrative hospital or clinic settings, have them discuss specific disease integrations.
Like what, for example?
For instance, a deep dive discussion on how acupuncture is used alongside conventional chemotherapy to manage side effects like nausea, or how specific herbal formulas might support recovery after certain types of surgery.
So positioning TCM not as an alternative, but as a critical integrated part of modern healthcare.
Precisely. It meets a real need and elevates the perception of TCM.
Okay, moving to recommendation number 3, optimizing the presentation, both visually and linguistically. If the content strategy is solid, the delivery needs to match that level of institutional quality.
Absolutely. Visual clarity is just non-negotiable, especially when you're doing practical demonstrations. If you're filming someone doing acupressure or needling, the camera work has to be crystal clear, steady, good close-ups. We need to get beyond just vaguely pointing to an area on the body.
So Nang cup the instructional quality. Make it almost lab standard precise.
I think that's the right way to think about it. The production value of those instructional segments needs to be super precise. Think about integrating graphics, clean lower third text, identifying the point being shown. Maybe even simple 3D animations to pinpoint the exact location relative to anatomical landmarks, or to trace meridian pathways, show the direction of flow or manipulation.
That level of visual detail would seriously enhance the learning.
Dramatically. And it reinforces the credibility of the institution presenting the information. It looks professional and authoritative.
And speaking of reaching a wider audience and looking professional, this next point feels absolutely critical, especially given the global appeal we saw with the tongue diagnosis video. The bilingual subtitle imperative.
Yes. This isn't just a nice-to-have accessibility feature. This is a comprehensive, dual-purpose growth strategy. It's essential.
So the recommendation is?
Add both Chinese and English subtitles to every single video, period. Shorts, long form, everything.
Okay, talk us through the strategic benefits of doing that universally.
Okay, first, obviously, it serves the wider global audience directly. It accommodates learners who might speak Mandarin primarily but prefer English for technical terms, or vice versa, basic accessibility.
Right.
Second, and this is crucial for YouTube growth, adding accurate subtitles in multiple languages significantly boosts the algorithm's ability to understand and recommend your content across different language settings and geographic regions. It tells YouTube who this video is relevant for.
Okay. It helps the algorithm do its job better.
Massively better. And beyond just subtitles, the channel must also utilize YouTube's features to add translated titles and descriptions, that's the metadata, in multiple relevant languages.
So the title itself shows up in Chinese for users in Chinese language settings and in English for others.
Exactly. This optimizes searchability on a global scale. It tells the algorithm precisely who should see this video, regardless of their primary browser or app language. It's metadata gold.
That alone could extend the reach of every single video exponentially.
Oh.
Okay, this leads us smoothly into our final section. Establishing authority, not just through content, but through presenter style and overall brand identity.
Right, because the who and the how matter just as much as the what.
The data confirmed that those expert-led webinars, often with professors, drive high CTRs and retention, so the on-screen talent needs to project that professional authority.
Yes, whether that's visually signaled by, say, a lab coat or scrubs, or just professional attire appropriate for a clinician or academic, that authority is key. But, and this is the vital balance, they absolutely must maintain an approachable, friendly, and relatable tone.
We need to avoid that dry, purely academic lecture style that can sometimes happen.
Definitely. You want a knowledgeable guide, someone who can bridge that gap between potentially ancient, complex theory and modern practical application for the viewer.
How do they do that effectively?
One of the best ways is using simple, relatable analogies to explain complex concepts, like the movement of qi, which can seem very abstract.
Right.
Our source material actually had a fantastic example idea for a title. Traffic jams might better explain acupuncture.
Huh. I love that. It's instantly understandable.
Isn't it? The analogy's immediate. Qi is like traffic flowing on a highway, which is the meridian. Pain or illness is like a traffic jam stagnation. Acupuncture, then, is like the traffic police rerouting the flow, clearing the blockage.
That immediately lowers the barrier to understanding, but it still respects the depth of the topic. That's a great hook.
Exactly. High-impact communication. Now, let's also talk about speaker diversity. Because while the senior professors obviously provide undeniable authority, the presenter pool probably shouldn't be limited only to them for long-term relevance.
Good point. What are you suggesting?
We think it's important to broaden that pool, bring in some energetic junior practitioners, maybe recent graduates who are out there successfully applying what they learned, perhaps even successful alumni.
What does that achieve?
It offers fresh perspectives on clinical application. It shows the material being used in the real world today. And, importantly, it provides aspirational content for prospective students watching the channel.
Ah, like an alumni stories series, perhaps.
Exactly. That kind of series provides motivational examples of career success. It shows the practical, real-world value and application of the FBU curriculum. It humanizes the whole educational journey. And bonus, it subtly addresses recruitment goals by demonstrating return on investment.
That's a smart way to integrate different goals. Okay. And finally, pulling this all together visually, brand identity. Consistency is key here, right?
Consistency is absolutely king, especially for building a recognizable brand in what's becoming a crowded online education market. The channel has to establish and then rigidly stick to a clear, consistent visual identity.
What does that include specifically?
Uniform title fonts across all videos, a dedicated professional color scheme used in graphics and text overlays, consistent intro and outro animations or bumpers. The goal is, when viewers are scrolling through their YouTube feed, the professional polish and the consistent look should make them instantly recognize, that's a 5 branches video, even before they read the title.
So that visual professionalism signals the institutional quality.
Precisely. It reinforces the trust that the expert-led content is already building. Every little detail, from how you place graphics showing acupoints to the presenter's attire, needs to look intentional, professional, and authoritative.
Okay, so let's try and summarize the core strategic advice here for the 5 Branches University channel. It feels like it rests on maybe 3 main pillars.
Sounds about right. What are they?
Okay, pillar 1. Systematize the winners. Take those proven practical themes, the tweener tips, the treatment demos, definitely the tongue diagnosis content, and turn them into regular series.
Double down on what works. Got it.
Pillar 2. Deepen the engagement. Use the successful shorts as a launchpad to create those more comprehensive 8 to 15-minute authoritative deep dives in long-form video. Give the committed audience more.
Build out the curriculum based on proven interest. Makes sense.
And pillar 3. Optimize the delivery. Prioritize that crystal clear instructional visual quality and absolutely maximize the global reach through bilingual accessibility, dual subtitles, and translated metadata.
Nail the execution, yeah. The foundation of the current success is clearly that practical knowledge delivered with authority. The path forward to real long-term loyalty and global leadership seems to be about systemizing that success and then strategically deepening the content engagement.
So we've seen the data confirms this strong global audience hunger. People want both the quick tips and the deep, authoritative knowledge on TCM. Which brings us to a fascinating final question, a real strategic crossroads, perhaps.
Okay.
The critical next step isn't just what to film next, but maybe which truly complex, advanced, long-form TCM topic should be prioritized first to really cement the channel's leadership position on the global stage.
Interesting question. What are the options you're thinking?
Well, should they go straight for, say, a comprehensive series detailing the history, the preparation, the clinical application of really complex technical herbal formulas, deep practical pharmacology? Or should they instead focus on mastering one of the most advanced diagnostic methods, maybe commit to an extensive, perhaps even year-long series, exploring all the subtleties of traditional pulse diagnosis?
Wow. Okay, that's a big strategic choice. It's essentially a choice between practical, applicable pharmacology versus highly advanced diagnostic mastery.
Exactly. And that choice, where your path to prioritize first for that deep dive content, could really define FBU's perceived authority and leadership in the global TCM education space for the next decade.
A truly fascinating challenge. It really hinges on defining whether the core committed audience is seeking more hands-on treatment application skills right now, or if they're ready for that deeper level of clinical diagnostic understanding.
A tough call.
It is. And perhaps that strategic assessment is something we leave with you, the listener, to mull over as you think about how these data-driven insights might apply to your own content or learning goals.
Great point. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
I'll see you next time.